Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself. Oh, and if you don't mind, like, subscribe, comment. And I've got a link tree down below that's got my social media, and it has my Patreon if you want to help out. Thank y'all. South Carolina's been caught in doing something that violates the Fourth Amendment. That is, they have every year something called Operation Rolling Thunder. This has been going on for a few years now. What they do is they organize the police departments along I-85 to stop as many vehicles as possible. That sounds like a decent idea if you're trying to find criminals or whatnot, but the Institute of Justice started investigating it. On top of the fact of, like I said, it's against the Constitution. Supreme Court held City of Indianapolis versus Edmond 2000 that mass enforcement schemes like this are impermissible under the Fourth Amendment. Although individual pretextual stops are permissible, the Supreme Court has held the opposite when it comes to a systematic program of roadside stops. So, this scheme is unconstitutional. I'm not saying you don't go after criminals. I'm not saying that you shouldn't enforce the laws. But if you're doing it in an unconstitutional manner, especially some of the things that they found, the Institute of Justice found when they were doing this research, then, okay, no, this is not good. Not to mention, all they're doing is raising money for local police departments. You'd think I'm joking with you. They're seizing cash from people. No matter what the cash is there for, if you have cash, they're seizing it, claiming that it's for drugs or some kind of illegal scheme. So we're going to get into this. What they found in this lawsuit, okay, here we go. When claiming probable cause for search, officers frequently guessed wrong. More than 70% of vehicle searches produced nothing illegal. Officers rely heavily on speculation and innuendo. If people look nervous or avoid eye contact, the police count this as evidence of guilt. One officer faulted a driver for simultaneously talking too much and not enough. While being vague about his trip, the driver would over-explain other things, the officer wrote. Participating agencies thwart transparency laws by not keeping records of every search, making inspection impossible. Officers searched 144 vehicles but generated only 42 incident reports in 2022. Spartanburg County has no documentation for 102 searches that did not result in arrest or seizure, preventing exposure of potentially embarrassing or unconstitutional conduct. Officers stopped and searched as many as 45 commercial buses. The precise number is unavailable due to the lack of record keeping. Officers found drugs on 11 buses and identified 6 criminal suspects, yet the police treated all passengers, potentially hundreds, like criminals. Drug-sniffing dogs are unreliable. Let's not even go into that. This has been proven in court. Like we're talking outside of court, they did the work with these dogs, and it was proven enough for it to matter in a court of law that drug dogs are trained not so much about the drugs, but how to respond by the officer that they're with. Drug-sniffing dogs are unreliable. The records show false positives and at least one false negative. Carrying any amount of cash is legal, but officers treat currency as contraband. The records describe no case in which officers found cash but did not seize it. All money was presumed guilty. Officers pressure property owners to sign roadside abandonment forms, giving up claims to their cash on the spot. South Carolina residents mostly get a pass. More than 83% of criminal suspects identified during warrantless searches lived out of state, nearly half from Georgia. So this is what's been going on with Rolling Thunder. Okay, yes, they did find some things, but that doesn't give them the right to seize all this cash, especially if there's no evidence of anything. So we're going to read a case now. Okay, so uh on this incident date, let me see here. This is occurred 10:05:22. On this incident date, Master Deputy Wasserman and Deputy Bennick of the Greenville County Sheriff's Office were participating in Operation Rolling Thunder in Spartanburg County, South Carolina. We were monitoring the flow of traffic near the 77-mile marker on I-85 southbound, which is within Spartanburg County, South Carolina. We observed a blue Tesla in lane 1 of the I-85 southbound and observed that the vehicle was driving in the left number 1 lane of I-85 southbound, not actively passing or overtaking any vehicles. At the time, we conducted traffic stop on the vehicle. Seriously, this is what you're... Okay, yeah, they're driving in the left lane, but... Okay, how many people... Think about this. How many of y'all do this? The driver, okay, we're not going to go tell you these people's names. Upon speaking to the driver, we learned that they claimed to be moving to Atlanta, Georgia from Charlotte, North Carolina to begin a new endeavor in the hair business. The occupants claimed that they were driving a rental vehicle to Atlanta to move a few items and then subsequently fly back to Charlotte to pick up the passenger's vehicle that had to have an oil change. While speaking to the occupants, we smelled the odor of what we know to be marijuana. Yes, that old chestnut. Seriously. I have been around people that have never smoked a day in their life, and they talk about getting pulled over and the cops are claiming that they can smell marijuana, so that means that they can search your vehicle. These are people that have never smoked marijuana, never been around marijuana that they know of. Literally, no contact with marijuana, and cops are going, "Well, I smell marijuana." And we know this odor from our training and the experience as law enforcement officers. No, you know it because you use it as a false reason to search. Okay, and here's proof of this. A probable cause search of the vehicle was conducted, and we subsequently located a large amount of United States currency. An investigator of Homeland Security Investigations arrived on scene and began to speak to the occupants. The investigator ultimately seized U.S. currency after interviewing the occupants. This ended our portion of the investigation, and the currency investigation will be handled by Homeland Security. Our body-worn cameras and the car camera were activated during the incident. No further things at that time. So basically, they had the money seized. By the way, here's what the law states. Even if a state has abolished civil asset forfeiture, all you have to do is have federal authorities do it, thanks to that idiot Jeff Sessions. So you can be driving down the road, have a decent amount of cash on you for whatever legal reason that you want. You shouldn't even have to say anything. The cops can seize it and go, we can just this was a federal thing. This is all because of Jeff Sessions. And so these people are losing their money to raise money for their locals. So half of it approximately goes to the local police department, half of it goes to Homeland Security or whatever federal law enforcement sees the money. Yep, that's what goes on. Now, the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office, in just 1 year, seized $968,611. That's all profit for the sheriff's office. Well, for the county. As far as records show, every time they found cash in a car, they decided that cash was somehow linked to a crime, and they decided to keep it, even when in a number of these records shows there's no indication there were any drugs in the car. There's no indication of other evidence that would link the cash to criminal activity. Unfortunately, what we see here is legal. It's civil forfeiture, but it's also unconstitutional because it turns the presumption of innocence on its head and it forces people to prove their own innocence in order to keep their property. And they were forcing these people to sign property sheets. So a sheriff's office, and the sheriff is right above, or is right in that picture that's showing right now. This was profiting the county. This was how they raise money through the sheriff's office. You'd think, oh, well, all these, no. The sheriff offices and the PDs are used for revenue generation now. Yes, they do other things, but for their primary job is to generate revenue for the county. This is proving it. $968,000, almost $1 million raised from taking money from people. And a lot of times this was done to people who were just carrying cash. Yes, I have a problem with civil asset forfeiture, and this is why, because this dude that you're seeing in this picture got to profit from it. Now look, this is not an anti-cop video. Here's what the problem is. Number one, this is forced on the cops by the counties. This is another way for them to generate revenue. Seriously. That's what this is. Civil asset forfeiture is about generating revenue. This is not the job of law enforcement. Generating revenue is whatever government agency deals with taxation. At no point should law enforcement be part of revenue generation. This causes people to dislike law enforcement. Get rid of that function that has been forced upon law enforcement, and all of a sudden I can guarantee you that a lot of the bad feelings toward law enforcement goes away. 2, you are training young law enforcement members that it is okay for them to take the property of the citizens of this nation. That is giving them a skewed outlook on what their job is supposed to be, and it is also causing them to get power trips. Yes, cops get power trips all the frickin' time. And this is part of the reason why they get power trips, because they can take whatever they want with impunity. That's bad for everybody. So, no, this is not an anti-cop video. This is a video that is saying that we need to stop the civil asset forfeiture garbage and start getting back to allowing our law enforcement officials to doing law enforcement. Civil asset forfeiture has been attacked for so long because that's theft. That's all it is. It is legal theft. So, no, don't think of this as me attacking law enforcement. This is me tired of a policy that is used to generate revenue. It is politicians that are saying, and yes, the sheriff is a politician. So, yeah, he's responsible for this, along with most likely the county commission and the state government for allowing this to go on in the state. This needs to end. And that's why I bring this up. This has been Paul, Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day. Folks, I just want to say thank you for listening. I want to thank you for taking your time. I want to hear what your comments are about what you think on this topic, because your comments are what's important, not necessarily mine. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're Democrat. I want to hear your opinion on these topics. I want to thank you yet again for listening to my video. Like, subscribe, and all that other hoopla. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.